Hi everyone, Curtis Judd here. In this episode of Sound for Film and Video, we're going to talk about how to sweeten your sound. In the last episode, we talked about making sure that you get the microphone as close as possible to your talent, and if possible, using an external recorder to capture the sound. Now, assuming those things, the next few steps we're going to show you will show you how to take that sound to the next level. And you can even apply it even if you're not recording with an external recorder. So to start off, let's run through a quick clip that shows three very common problems. Today we're going to talk about how to sync your audio with your video, why you'd want to do that, what to do when you're recording, and how to do it when you're editing. And after we solve these problems, we'll get a clip that sounds something more like this. Today we're going to talk about how to sync your audio with your video, why you'd want to do that, what to do when you're recording, and how to do it when you're editing. All right, we're going to demonstrate how to solve the three most common audio problems you have when recording with an external recorder. The first one will be that the sound signal is just not loud enough. Secondly, that when you record with a stereo recorder, like, say, any of the Zoom products, you get either audio on one track or channel and no audio on the other channel, or you get the same audio on both channels. And finally, if you have a little bit of noise in between actual dialogue. So let's show you how to do that in Reaper. Reaper is a commercial application for editing audio. It costs about $60 for a single user license. It's a fantastic program. I highly recommend it. Let's show you how to do this. Let's first of all open our audio file, and we'll go back to the start here. And let's just expand that so we can see it better. In this particular case, we have the issue where we have two channels and they're exactly the same thing. So we're just taking up extra space that we really don't need to be taking up. And the same thing could apply if you had the dialogue signal on one channel but nothing on the other one. So what would happen when you play that back is you would hear all of the dialogue coming out of a single speaker and you would have nothing coming out of the other speaker. A little bit of a problem. So the way to solve that is to right-click, choose Item Settings, and we're going to take channel mode mono left. That gives us just the left channel. Now, every editor is a little bit different. They're all probably going to have some way of doing this. It's going to be a little bit different, but that's the principle right there. All right, next thing we want to solve is, well, actually, let me give you a little tour here of what we've got going. In this little clip, I have the clapper board, and you can see that it makes a nice sharp signal there, and then we have our dialogue. Now, the way the waveforms are represented in almost every audio editor, and most video editors as well, is that when a waveform reaches the top and bottom margins for a track, that represents the loudest the signal can go. And any waveforms that are much closer to this center line are much quieter. So the problem we have here is our clapper is just fine, but our dialogue is a little bit too quiet. We really would like to have the highest peaks actually up here. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm just going to put my marker right there, and I can split the track. So I split the track. Now the reason I do that is we're going to apply an effect called normalization. Now normalizing your signal will take the highest or the loudest part of your signal throughout your clip and raise that up to 0 dB, the loudest it can go, and then raise everything else up in relation to that. So the problem is if we left this as one big clip, it would run through this and it would say, oh, we have a signal that goes all the way to 0 dB already, so we're not going to make any changes at all. Obviously not what we want here. We need to get this dialogue louder. So I've split this into two clips, and now this second clip I can just right-click, choose Item Processing, and apply the Normalize. So you can see right away, now we're up much closer to where we want it to be, and we're getting a nice strong signal. So that's the first problem we wanted to solve there. Actually, the first two problems. We've already solved the stereo problem, and we've also solved the normalize, or the dialogue signal that was too soft. And the next one is I've got a little bit of noise here. Now this isn't too obvious or too bad, but it is a little bit annoying, and so I want to apply it. And so what I'm going to do is split this track here as well. Now I can delete this center clip, and I can glue these two clips back together so that when we export it, it's all one item, and it will be ready to sync up to our video in our video editor. One last thing, let's just show you, we can render this out, or sometimes it's called export depending on the program you're using. A couple of things to keep in mind. You want to usually record and export your audio signal with a sample rate of 48,000 hertz or 48 kilohertz. That is typically the sampling rate that's used in video and in film. And it's best to keep it at that because you will have fewer sync problems under most circumstances, and just keep things simple. In this case, since we're just outputting some dialogue is a single voice is a mono source. So there's no reason to do stereo. We're just going to do it as mono. And it will come out both speakers, and we can do that by saving a lot of space. We're essentially, we don't have to do it in stereo to get it out of both speakers. In terms of output format, I would choose WAV. WAV is a great format because it is not compressed, it is not lossy. And so what you want to do is keep your signal as high quality as you can until the very last stage, at which point your video editing application will compress it with the video based on the settings you choose there. So keep it as high quality as you can till the very end, and then at that point is when you do the compression. And we'll keep it at 16-bit. 16-bit is CD quality. So go ahead and render that, and we are all set. All right, if you're using something like the free option, Audacity, then let me just run through that really quickly to show you how it's done here. Very similar. You'll recognize this really quickly. File import to get our audio. Just choose the clip. The difference here is that Audacity is a destructive editor, meaning that once you make changes and save that to your file, you've modified the original file. So the best thing to do is to make a copy. So we'll go ahead and do that. This looks very similar here. We've got the stereo situation going on. Again, we really just need mono because we did dialogue. So I'll split that and then get rid of the one. I can drag that out so we can see it a little better. Now, what's a little different here, instead of splitting the clip, I just highlight the areas that I want to process. And in this case, we wanted to normalize this. So I highlight that. That's our dialogue. Run on down to normalize. I'm going to choose, I'll go into more detail of this in a future video, but I'm just going to go ahead and normalize that to -0.5, and bam, we're right where we need to be as far as taking care of this noise that occurs right before I start talking. I'm going to highlight that, go to my effects, choose amplify, and I'm going to drop that down to -30, and you can see that all but disappears there. And then we're set to export. All I have to do is go to File, Export. I choose my options. I'm going to go WAV 16-bit. And it also gives you the option to add some metadata. If you choose to do that, you don't have to. And we're done. Now, in future episodes, we'll talk about more advanced topics like EQ and compression to further sweeten your sound. Thanks for checking out the show. Hope you found it helpful, and we'll talk to you again soon.